So, where were we last time? Halfway through supplements, right? Tomorrow you have maths, I think, with Manisha. Half class? I don't know. Half class?
I'm saying that whether we are going to have holiday or that.
Okay, for that. I'm not sure. Maybe you'll have an online class. If Manisha is online, then you can join online. You can confirm with Jyoti, ma'am. I'll just ask her. Jyoti, ma'am, Varika class, Manisha online.
It's online. I was for this. ये क्या कोई नहीं है फर्स्ट
साइन किया हुआ है
हाँ
Okay, so good evening, Nishta, Sarah, Shitej, who else is there? Anybody else?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Okay, so now since we left with supplements last time, we will continue. Now, the essential and inessential clauses we've already done. Yeah, no problem with that. Something which can be removed is the inessential part, which has to be separated with the help of punctuations, right? Now we were at the point where we were talking about the different types of like placements. Yeah? Non-essential clause is also clear. If you had any doubts, then you can let me know. Okay, now we already did that we can use the 3 punctuations, commas, dashes, or parentheses. But the only thing is that they should match. You can't have 1 comma, 1 parenthesis, or they should be both the same. And you also have to see which one can be used depending upon the grammatical structure of the sentence. Yeah, we had a problem with that. This one. Yeah. So when you have that and a comma before that, you know it's not to be taken. So any other option will suit.
Ma'am.
Yes, Sarah.
Ma'am, your screen is still showing session 7.
Okay, it hasn't been shared. 1 minute.
Like we can see your screen, but I don't think we can see you changing the slides.
Okay, now can you see?
Yes, ma'am. Non-essential clauses, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So just trying to refresh our memory so that we get it. So the appositives also, like anything with O and will separate the same way. Okay, we were talking about the position of the supplements, right? So the supplements can be like we did in the remember in the modifiers. Same way, supplements can be in the beginning of the sentence, in the middle, or at the end. If they're in the beginning of the sentence, you have a comma after it. If it's in the middle, comma, or if it's in the beginning, then you just have a comma after it. If it is in the middle, you can have comma, parenthesis, or dashes. If it is at the end, a comma before it. That's all you have to remember, right? Say barking insistently, Smokey got us through his wall for him. So just a comma after that. To stay in shape for competition, comma, athletes must exercise their daily. Complete the job, comma, as directed is your supplement coming at the end of the sentence. Right? So it's just complete the job. And now if that as directed is important to you, then you will not have the comma, depending upon the context. So if it is a standalone sentence, you will put a comma. If it is in the context given like some other sentences before or after, then depending upon the context, you will choose to use a comma or not. Yeah. So supplements in the middle of the sentence, I already said that you know very well. Okay, we have these two. Yeah. So as you read these 2 sentences, more commonly referred to as the Northern Lights, the aurora borealis is much better known than its southern equivalent, the aurora australis. Yeah. So is this punctuated properly? Sarah, Nishta, Kshitij, all of you, can you have please have your videos on? I can't see you. Buddy, please have your video on. Nishta. So, how would you punctuate it? Hmm? So, more commonly referred to as the Southern Lights, comma, then you go on with the rest of it. Yeah. And you have a comma before the Aurora australis, because that's a name, you can have a comma before it. Okay, what about the second one? The aurora borealis, more commonly referred to as the northern lights. We see that extra information now comes in the middle of the sentence. So you'll have a comma before more and a comma after lights. Yeah, that's how you would be separating the two. Okay, the third one, the Olmec culture, which flourished in the modern day Mexican states of Veracruz and Tabasco, was among the earliest complex civilizations. Anything in this? After culture. Yeah. So if you remove the portion between which flourished in the modern day Mexican states of Veracruz and Tabasco, if you remove it, you still have a complete sentence. So that is an additional information, right? So now how to identify? You know now, you look for what the supplements are. So whether you have to add or remove the, now if you have your options given, you have a part of the supplement, you have a word and there's a, maybe the other part of the supplement is in the passage given to you. They won't give the entire sentence, they'll give only a part of it. So you have to match the other part and what the whole thing is reading like. Okay. Okay, let's do some questions now. So here are just about, this is about identifying the statements and whether to punctuate or not. So the people demanding special treatment make me angry. Demanding special treatment, it's already written in italics for you. So that is what? It's a clause, it's an essential clause, it is non-essential or just a phrase. It is an essential clause. So people make me angry won't make sense. Yeah. Which people, that is something specific. We cannot remove it from the sentence, right? Okay. His brother, who is a health nut, runs 5 miles a day. That is inessential. We can punctuate it with punctuations before who and after not. A friend of mine who lives in Boston loves the seafood there. Essential. So how would you figure out it is essential or not? If you remove the who lives in Boston, a friend of mine loves the seafood there. It's like something missing in it. Yeah, doesn't make complete sense. So it is essential. Alan Lomax, always fascinated by roots music, first recorded the bluesman lead belly. Non-essential, we can remove it. Okay, very good. Okay, let's look at this one. Which is the correct option? B? Yeah, because none of the, you have a dash already, so you will need another dash. What about this? B? Julie was thoroughly confused. comma, and then you continue. She couldn't figure out where the park is.
Ma'am, why not A for that?
Okay, just a minute, I'll go back. Yeah. So Julie was thoroughly confused. You could also use A, actually. Which would be better? Hmm? A would be better. I missed out the A one. I thought comma would be okay. So we have a colon. Julie was thoroughly confused, colon, and then they are giving the reason why she was confused. Yeah. So in this case, colon will do. I think colon will be a better option. If we didn't have colon, we would have gone with comma. But colon is a better option than comma in this case. Yes, thank you for pointing out the mistake. Okay. So here Paul was overcome with joy when he saw dash in the parking lot of a McDonald's restaurant. Then you see we have a comma coming in after the blank, which we shouldn't really miss out on. So Paul was overcome with joy when he saw actor Keanu Reeves. So which option will you go with? Obviously, you will not go with colon in this case. Actor, comma, Keanu Reeves.
Option D.
Option D, we
Option
don't need comma or any punctuation after actor. Okay. A and B are same. Anyway, A and B shouldn't really be same. Okay. So these are questions from the classroom worksheet. So if you have a problem from here, you can refer to your books. That becomes a little easy. So this is session 7. It will be page 146. Yeah, formulate. So anyone who gets the answer for the first one, please unmute and let me know the answer. Option A. So we have the women are singing dash, a combination of her book Sani Dahatal. The women are singing, and it describes what the book is about. So a dash is there. We need another dash. So prose dash. Okay. So I hope you people can hear me if I sit down. Please pardon me. Yeah. Option D. So here we have So the sandhill dash to North America. So the sandhill crane, yeah, a large bird native. Now you won't have a comma after native. That will be wrong. We need a we have a comma after America, so a comma will be fine. The third one. Third one is option B. We have a dash. It's very obvious that we need another dash. Right. Yes, Nishtha, are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so everyone keep solving. We need to go a little fast. Okay, so number 4, if you have your books, you can follow from your books. Number 4C, yeah. It says mixing the subjects before dash with bromide, iodine, etc. So mixing collodion, viscous light sensitive chemical solution dash. So it has dashes on both sides. Okay, next one. Number 5.
B.
B. This is compensated earning in 2012, a median annual salary of $90,930 plus cost health. So, although well compensated, we don't need a comma after that. We already have a comma before also. Right. Next one, D. We already have a hyphen before had, and it will, after them, and we need a hyphen. No.
Yeah, already one.
How can we have a B over here? Age dash and them dash. So let's read it that way. In addition to supervillains, the new soon-to-be iconic characters of the age, then there are the examples in the middle. So dash after age and dash after them. Yeah, so we can go with D. Okay, number 7.
D.
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 Okay. Everyone thinks it's D. Sarah, what's your answer? D. That was easy. Because, yes, what's your answer? D. Everyone says D. Yeah. Because here we don't really need any punctuation before or after halted. Yeah. And archaeological team's work was periodically halted by the weather. We won't have a punctuation after halted because it's a continuity of the sentence. Okay, next one. Okay, this was it. Done. Okay, so these are quite easy then. No problem with punctuating supplements. Okay, so now we can go on to, now when we were doing all these sessions, for each session we had some punctuations. Yeah. So now we will just about go through all the punctuations, and if there was something missing out, we will figure out that whether we need something to know something new, or we already know it. Okay, so now we had end of sentence punctuations. What were end of sentence punctuations, or what are? Period, question marks, exclamation mark. Yeah. So they will only ask you to recognize and see whether it is correct or not. So now period between two independent clauses. Yeah, that we know. And period will be the ending of any statement. And of course, any of the end of sentence punctuations will never be after a dependent clause or in the middle of the sentence somewhere. Yeah, where we don't have two independent clauses, we don't use a period. Okay, now let's look at the difference between the period and the question mark. Question mark we use when we have we are asking something, interrogating somebody, yeah, asking a question. So if I say I need to take out the trash, that's fine. How did you forget to take out the trash? Can be a question mark. Can it also be an exclamatory mark again? Depending upon the tone.
Yeah.
Right? So if it is, say you are reading a narrative or you're reading a story and there's a conversation, depending upon the tone, it could have an exclamation or a question mark, right? Say, I can't believe you forgot to take out the trash after I asked you to do so 5 times. Yeah, a very favorite statement of mummies. Okay. Now, if it is a command, you'll have a full stop. You won't have exclamation if it is a command. Yeah. It could be like they are also depending upon the tone. Exclamation can come in. Now it's too late. Take out the trash. Yeah, and just you have to take out the trash. Full stop. Okay. Now let's look at this sentence over here. Andres wondered if he could save his money for a rainy day, if he could save, sorry, or go to an amusement park instead. Would we have a question mark over here? No, right? We don't require a question mark because this is not a question asked to somebody. It's just somebody is wondering, or he asked himself. If it is written, then also no question mark, only full stop. I asked my mom if I could have some milk. Do you think question mark should come in? No. This is an indirect speech. No question mark. If it was, can I have some milk? I asked my mom. Then you would have question. Yeah. It is a question, but not directly. Okay. Now we'll quickly go through the internal sentence punctuations. Yeah. Sarah, are you following? I hope you people can hear me clearly. Okay. So internal sentence punctuations will be commas, semicolons, colons, dashes. Yeah. So now we know how to use the commas. How? Separate two independent clauses, add fanboys conjunction to it. Right? Without the fanboys conjunction, if we use only a comma, what happens? It's a comma splice. Yeah. How would you rectify a comma splice? Wait, let me see if somebody is here. Nishta, how would you rectify a comma splice? If you have only a comma between two independent clauses, what would the options be you are looking for? Fanboys conjunction. Yeah. Or if you didn't have these options, then semicolon or period. Yeah, that also could separate two independent clauses. So commas would be used to set up introductory information, supplements in the beginning of the sentence. Yeah, non-essential descriptions in the middle of a sentence or at the end. Yeah. Supplements at the beginning or end, non-essential information in the middle, separating 3 or more items in the list. All these you use commas. And we already know what the comma splice is and how to go about it. Yeah. Okay, so first thing, commas should be used, we know, between 2 independent clauses with fanboys conjunction. So these are some examples. London is a very old city, but some parts of it are extremely modern. Or London is a very old city and comma and, that would be correct. Yeah. Okay. Between a dependent clause and independent clause, this also we've done in modifiers. Dependent clause, comma, independent clause. Yeah. Supplements also work the same way. Supplements act as what? Dependent clauses. You can have a comma after that. Right? But it should be followed by the independent clause. Okay? Okay. Prepositional phrases, then also you will have a comma after that. However, which, or moreover, any of those words. Yeah. On the other hand, that's a full phrase instead of a. Or because London is a very old city, dependent clause, beginning with because. So any phrase in the beginning of a sentence, if you have a subject, the conjunction coming in, yeah, subjunctive conjunction, you'll know that it is a dependent clause. But you have to see whether it fits in or not. So around non-essential phrases, we already saw. So modifiers, we know how to punctuate. I don't have to go into details anymore. Yeah. Okay. So restrictive clauses not surrounded by commas. Non-restrictive surrounded by commas. Okay. And a comma after a modifier will start begin with the sentence, beginning of the sentence. A modifier before the comma, which is at the end of the sentence. That's it. In the middle of the sentence, both ways. So, do you need to go to the examples? No. Yeah, you can rush through it. Complete the job as we just had it. Okay. Now coming to the separating items in the list. So when you have items in the list, like the child ate cotton candy, fried cookies, comma, and. Yeah, the last item will always have and after that. Now we'll come to the list again later, but regarding commas, you will always separate the item. Now, it may be that the list is in the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. Yeah, if it is at the end of the sentence, we'll have a comma and after the last item. But if it is in the beginning of the sentence and the sentence continues, then you will not have a comma after the last item. If you look at this example here, hiking, skiing, comma, and water rafting, you don't need a comma after that. Yeah, have always been some of my favorite activities. So comma, comma, and no comma after the last item if the sentence continues. This you have to remember. So this is very important. Say this one, I bought apples, bananas, and pear. If we end the sentence over there, we have a full stop. Yeah. Or if I say, I bought apples, bananas, and pears. When I went to the market, the sentence continues. Now, if I place when I went to the market in the beginning, then it's okay, no problem. We have a full stop. Yeah. But if the sentence continues, no comma after the last item. right? Okay, now look at this sentence. It's a long sentence. Identify the different items in this and see if the commas are placed properly or not. So what would the items be? Read carefully. I swept the floor so that, now till here is just the sentence, yeah? All of the dust bunnies ran for cover, yeah? This is item number 1. Dusted them out from underneath the furniture, that is item number 2, right? Gathered them into a big pile, this is item number 3. Decided I was too lazy to wrangle them into the trash can. 4, comma, and brushed them all under the rug. Yeah. So we have comma, 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 and all correct. Now we can also use commas to separate adjectives whose order can be reversed. Say we have this one. The groaning, rumbling train finally pulled into the station. Groaning, rumbling, both are adjectives describing the train. So 2 words, only comma in the middle will do. Right? 2 adjectives which can be interchanged. We can say rumbling, groaning doesn't make any difference. Right? Okay. Now transitional words and phrases, we already know we need a comma after any transitional words or phrases coming in the beginning of the sentence or even in the middle of the sentence. Say you have 2 independent clauses. You have a semicolon in the middle. Second clause, you have an however coming in, comma after that, right? Or because, therefore, thus, whatever comes in, comma after that. So meanwhile, however, okay, before, when you are using quotes in direct speech, you have to use a comma before, right? He asked, or if there is a direct statement and like here, because it just makes sense. Again, you have a comma, she replied. Now, one thing you have to remember, the placement of the comma in relation to the quote or the inverted commas. The comma or the full stop, if it is coming at the end, should always be before the inverted commas. If you have an option giving you the comma or the full stop after inverted commas, it will be incorrect. So always, like here, the question mark comes inside the inverted commas, right? So in direct speech, when you are using inverted commas, the end punctuation, whether it is a comma, full stop, question mark, exclamation mark, anything should come inside the inverted commas, right? You have to remember that. You can write it down. So addressing a person by name, there also we need a comma after the name, right? Say, Peter, would you pass the pepper? Say, if I say, Charul, have you done your homework? Comma after that. Okay. Now punctuating such as. There is something confusing, we make mistakes. So you will use a comma before such as or after such as. What is the purpose of such as, first thing? Then you will never get confused. We know the purpose of such as. Setting up an example, explanation, something of that sort. Yeah. So the comma will be before such as, not after. Yeah. Comma will always be before such as.
Ma'am, but then in this sentence, why is the comma after such as?
Huh?
But then in this sentence itself, why is the comma after such as?
No. This is just saying before such as. That is, such as is just should be in single inverted commas. Actually. So such as doesn't have any function in this sentence. right? Comma before such as. If I say comma before that, or comma before but, the same way it comes in. It comes in as a phrase. And then no comma before the first item in the list or example, whatever comes in, right? Let's look at this example. The teachers gave out a variety of homework assignments, such as worksheets, hands-on projects, and online quizzes, right? So your such as is setting up a list of things that the teacher gave as homework assignment, comma, such as, no comma after such as. Whenever you use such as, comma only before such as. Like when you use that, no commas whatsoever. Yeah, these two things you have to remember. Very important. So you'll get questions, you should not be confused. Okay. So till now we got to know where to use commas. Now it is important to know where not to use commas. Yeah, so that we don't get confused. Okay. So we know between independent clauses only comma not to be used. Comma plus conjunction is just fine. Okay. Now if there you have two clauses dealing with the same subject and the second clause the subject is not repeated. Yeah, say this one. London is a very old city, comma, but has many modern buildings. But London has many modern buildings. No, comma, but is fine. Now, if we say London is a very old city, but has many modern buildings without a comma, which one is better? We will use the second one. Because if you read the sentence, London is a very old city, that is okay. We have but in the middle. Now, if we said London has many modern buildings, that would be an independent clause. Now, here what happened, we removed London, we converted it into a format of a dependent clause. So then we go back to independent clause coming first, dependent clause coming after that. It breaks down to that structure. So we don't need a comma here. So if we have two subjects, second part of the sentence doesn't contain the subject but has the conjunction, we don't need a comma, right? Yes, Sarah, Nidhi, Nishta, got this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is sometimes they will give the question and you will say, okay, London is a very old city but has many modern buildings, we need a comma. No, read very carefully. Okay, whenever you have, one thing you have to be careful. Whenever you see a comma, read the first part, read the second part. Are they both independent clauses written separately? If you put a full stop. Now replace the comma by a full stop. Yeah, and see. Are both independent, both complete sentences? In this case, if you put a full stop, but has many modern buildings, it's not a comma. Yeah. So that's one trick. If you are confused, just put a full stop in the middle and see if they are complete sentences. Okay. Now, if you use parentheses to separate clauses in the middle in essential information, would you use comma before the parenthesis? No. Why? Because if you remove the parenthesis and write the sentence again, then that comma will be a misplaced comma, right? So we can have a comma after the parenthesis, but we will never use a comma before. So here this comma will be incorrect. So if we remove the parenthesis, first thing we are coming up with a double comma. If you're using parentheses, you will not use commas. Yeah. Now suppose the second comma was not there, and we had a first comma here. Now the Caribbean Sea contains some of the world's most stunning coral reefs. Comma, comma, but many of them are in danger. No. We can have a comma after the parenthesis, no comma before the parenthesis. Right? If you have it after, remove the inessential information. It stands correct. We have a comma part. Right? So never ever have a comma before parenthesis, no matter what. Before and after that, no commas, right? Okay. Now, so here, which one will be correct? Third one, right? We don't need a comma before or. Now, if there may be some cases where that is not written, but it implies. Let's look at this sentence. The snow that is used to build an igloo must have enough strength to be cut and stacked correctly. Yeah, fine. Okay. Now let's look at this sentence. The snow used to build an igloo. We haven't written that, but it implies. Yeah, there also there'll be no comma used. You won't say the snow, comma, you used to build an igloo. Right? So if you put a comma in the middle of a year, can you see the point? So if you put a comma over here, that would be incorrect. Right? So the correct version will be either the snow that is used to build an igloo or the snow used to build an igloo without the comma. This comma is incorrect. Okay, when another place where you won't use a comma, say this sentence. The mountain goats are very nimble. Do you need a comma? No. Here what do we have? We have a subject and a verb coming together. Right? The goats is a subject, are is a verb. We don't need a comma between the subject and the verb. Okay? Before prepositions, no commas. Yeah? Say the chicken crossed, comma, to the other side of the road. We don't need a comma. Yeah? They may give you preposition like here. The chicken crossed to the other side, comma, of the road. Right? So whenever you have prepositions, no comma. So now you will remember the rules where commas are not used. That's where we go wrong, and that's where SAT tests you. Okay? Okay, now coming to the semicolons. We know we need semicolons between two independent clauses. Yeah? So to fix any run-on sentences, we would be using semicolons. Now, if you have two clauses and both of them can be used as two sentences, but the ideas are related, we don't want to put them in two sentences. Even when you are writing on your own, it's not only the SAT question. When you're writing on your own, two ideas related to each other can be separated. You'd want to cut short on words. Remember, when you will be writing your essays, 200 words, 100 words, the word count is so important. So that editing, cutting down on words, using punctuations, dashes, etc., come very handy. Yeah. So if you have two related clauses, which you can be separated, but you don't want to separate, semicolon will come in. Yeah. Alex cooks his brownies with lard. They taste great. They taste great can be written as a separate sentence. It's independent clause. We can use the semicolon. It's not wrong. Okay. Now this is one thing. We did lists. We separated lists with commas. Yeah. Now suppose you have one item in the list which is a comma in the middle. Then can you separate the items in the list with commas? No. In that case, you will use semicolons. Yeah. So semicolons will be used to separate items in the list if even one of the items has a comma. Let's look at this particular. I pack my sleeping bag. Yeah, that is item number 1. A pop-up tent, comma, which I had borrowed from a friend and only used a few times. This is item number 2. It has a comma in the middle. A cast iron skillet. This is item number 3. And some popcorn to bring to the camping trip. Yeah. So we have item number 1, 3, and 4 without commas. Item number 2 has a comma. We will separate all the items with semicolons. Yeah. So even if one item is separated with a comma, like if you put a comma, I packed my sleeping bag, comma, or pop-up tent, comma, which I borrowed, that would be it. Yeah. So items in the list with a, if any item has a comma in the middle, use semicolons. It's a very important use of semicolons. Say this one. While United Nations is headquartered in New York City, it also has a central offices in Nairobi, comma, Kenya, Geneva, comma, Switzerland, which means to say Nairobi in Kenya, Geneva in Switzerland, Vienna in Australia. So we have commas. All items separated with the help of semicolons. See, semicolons, semicolons. Correct? Okay. So we come to like using semicolons, the best thing in a sentence. In the middle of the sentence, if a semicolon is used, what do you have to see? How do you test whether it is correct or not? Independent on both sides. Yeah. So that's what we call the before after test. Check both sides. If they are independent or not, can be written as solo sentences. First part, second part. You can use a semicolon. Yeah. Those are little examples. Now coming to the colon. We use colons. Yeah. Have a list coming up, a definition coming up, explanation coming up. Yeah. List explanations. Emphasize something which is like a quotation can come up after that. He explained this with the help of example, and or he said something about this, colon what he said. Yeah, that also saves words. So but what was the rule? Portion coming before the colon should be independent. Yeah, same way in a single dash. Portion coming before the dash will be independent clause if a single dash is used for the same function as colon. Right? Okay. But what follows the colon need not be an independent clause. It can be a fraction, it can be a list, it can be part of a sentence, incomplete sentence, anything can come. Okay. Like we will need the following in our camping trip: colon, a tent, sleeping bags, and hiking. Right? Okay. Like this one. There was only one thing to do. Fight the pirates head on. We have a colon in between, which tells us now here we can use a dash also, which will emphasize what we need to do or we can. Okay. We've attempted a sneak attack with the worst results yet. We've been forced to make a hasty retreat. Now, would the colon be correct over here? No. Why no?
It's not explaining the.
Okay, let's see it again. We attempted a sneak attack with the worst results yet. So this was the result. Yeah, we'd been forced to make a hasty retreat. That was the result. So we can use the colon. Yeah. So you have to figure out the relationship between the two parts, whether the colon is correct or not. So that's where the colon, using colon, two things you have to see. One, what comes before should be independent clause. What comes after should be related to what has been said earlier. These two things are very important. A single dash, same as colon. Two dashes separating non-essential clauses. That's it. We know that. Now I don't need to go into that any further. Right? Want a break? What's the time? Very short break. Yeah. Already tired? Okay, guys, we'll have a very short break. 3 minutes will do. Because we have to finish, remember, and there's quite a bit to do. And with all this setup, we lose a lot of time. Long break. Lots of classes going on. Eating classes is really tiring.
Work fast.
Yeah.
Also hot weather. I was working here without having good food and water. So I was
Yeah, you should be well hydrated. That's a major problem. And you haven't been having breakfast anyway. You have breakfast or don't have breakfast?
Yeah.
You still have lots of work. It's getting very hot. We continue. can have a sip of water. You want to just stand and walk. Okay. Okay, so everybody, Sarah, Nishta, Kshitij, you can come back. Thank you. Okay, so now we're coming to the questions. Yeah. So we're talking about how to go about the questions, right? So the questions will have, so the choices you have will be again punctuations, different types of punctuations coming in. Yeah, instead of just one type. And here in the supplements, we will have a pair of punctuations. We will look for the pair. Yeah. In this, there'll be only one punctuation and something before or after. Yeah. So we can, like instead of a comma, you would be given a semicolon or a colon. So you will know what to use and what not to use. So first thing we'll do is what comes before the, if you have just a comma in the sentence, like in the options, what comes before, what comes after? Yeah, before after test. Then if you have colons, again you do the before colon test, independent clause, double check commas whether they are used correctly or not, whether they are necessary or not. Commas should come in just about anywhere, right? Now, whether it is a coordinating or subordinating conjunction, right? So we have a dependent clause or independent clause accordingly. And if it is not, if the comma is not linking clauses, what else is it doing? Is it separating a prepositional phrase? Is it separating just a subordinating conjunction? What is it doing? That is it. So let's do the questions. So this one is one of the examples in the section. So can you give me the answer to this? It's done in your book, but we want to do it. Alison says, yeah, it's given there. So, so this is again, we have the double dash. Yeah. Dash her favorite class because she was. Let's look at this one.
Dash is in parentheses.
So you can spot a dash wherever it is, and you should know, you will know whether it's correct or not. Okay, let's look at this one. Now here your sentence is already there. Yeah. We don't know whether it is correctly written or not. So we have to look for the option which can replace it, if it is not correct. So first you have to figure out whether it is correct or not. Now, whenever you come across a semicolon or comma, check. Check all the commas and semicolons in the option and eliminate the ones which are wrong. A, B are wrong. E is also wrong. We don't need and spoke against February at the end. Right? So we can go with C. So in the given sentence, we had a semicolon before and spoke against 50, which is absolutely wrong. Yes, Sarah? Do you think C is the correct answer?
I also chose C.
You chose C? Okay, so here we are leading the transcendentalist movement. Yeah, so we have a comma. So this becomes the supplement in the beginning, right? and then we have a comma and the rest of the sentence. Question number 1 from the worksheet. So if you have a problem with the screen, you can follow your books. Now you have falling comma, falling colon, falling semicolon, and no punctuation at all. So you can just plug in the falling and see what you need. Option D. Yeah, we don't need any punctuation. So we say the reason seeds from dying dandelion appear to float in the air while falling is that the porous fumes enhance drag, allowing the seeds, etc. So we don't need anything. Okay, number 2. Option D again. The element segment number is equal to the number of protons. You don't need anything. Okay. C. You have comma, semicolon, and nothing at all. Ireland in 1935, Charles Darwin brought back a young tortoise named Harriet. She would live over 170 years before passing away at the Australia Zoo in 2006. So these are somewhat like both the parts of the sentence are related to the tortoise. They are giving you two different informations. So do you need something in between? Obviously we A is only comma.
Oh. I thought it's
Option B, right? Now we won't say Harriet semicolon who. Yeah, it could be comma who, not semicolon. So semicolon she, we then have two independent clauses, which would be correct. Okay. Yes, Nishta, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Okay, so now question number 4, I want to answer from you.
Okay. I'll read first and then answer.
Yes, and better be quick.
Option D. Option D.
Yeah, periodically halted by storm weather, so we don't need anything after that. Right. Right, Nishta. Okay. We'll quickly go on to number 5.
Option C.
Option
C.
C.
Yes, I feel it's C.
Yeah, probably. Sarah, what's your answer?
For option 5, C.
5C. Okay. Kshitij, are you there? Yes. Okay. Yes, it's option C. So if you see the sentence, we won't use semicolon. We won't use a full stop. Yeah, because the second part of the sentence is not really an independent clause. It's just giving us more information. So it will be like a comma before a supplement. Right? Okay, next one. Okay, yes, Kshitij, are you having a problem? I can't hear you either. your sound is okay, I would want the answer of number 6 from you. That seems like the likely answer. The semicolon as will be wrong. You won't use as after the semicolon, eliminated. Full stop also, full stop as eliminated. Now between colon and comma, if you see the first part is giving you a statement, second part is giving you a further explanation about that statement. Yeah. First part says that the car used in Thailand was only slightly declined, if you plug in decline. And then a 2014 study found that traffic was down less than 3% since the policy was enacted. So something that happened as a result of this, we can have a colon, that would be there. Okay. Number 7. Yes, Sarah, you can give me the answer to number 7.
I went with D.
You can go with D.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks D.
Yes.
From golden to silver age is probably the most successful examples of publishers responding to changing trends. So we don't need anything in between. Yeah. So D will be your answer. Okay, number 8 now. D.
D,
Either
D.
is comma and prescribing some medicines will be correct. We don't need a comma after and also. The D is correct. Okay. So this one done. Punctuation you are thorough with. Yeah. We'll never make a mistake in punctuations. Very good. Okay, now we will move on to something. This is session 9 translations. Yeah. Not much. We've already done a lot on this. Yeah. What are the words we can think of as transitions? Likewise, however, because, though, all those conjunctions which connected thoughts, connected ideas actually are transitions. Yeah. So we've already done them. We won't take time to understand. So in the now the transition questions you can identify. There's no doubt about the transition questions that will come. They'll always say which is the best transition in this to connect the ideas. So you don't have to start guessing what type of question it is. Yeah, they will tell you it's a transition question. Okay. So now what is the purpose of the transition? Relationship between ideas or sentences. If it is coming in the beginning of the sentence, it has to do with something that the previous sentence said or something that is coming up in the sentence. So the two clauses are connected or the ideas are connected. Now, when we talk about connecting ideas, it could give additional information, elaborate, yeah, or give you some contrasting or conflicting ideas. So like we use but, or, all those small words also. Causation, one is a result of the other. So we use because as a result of. So we just have to figure out what is the relationship. So addition means it builds up. So the words that you will come across would be something like in addition, furthermore, for example, and Also, likewise, moreover, similarly, correspondingly, yeah, and something like equally. So you have to see what word is coming in and what is the relationship it is showing. Like this one, climate change is causing many heat-related deaths. Next one is if, suppose you read it without the transition, it is leading to conditions that in the long run will harm us all. So it is giving you additional information. So moreover, in addition to this, this will also happen. Let's look at this one. It's giving an example. Yeah, for instance means example. Now the word will not be given. You have options given to you. You have to read the entire sentence, see how the ideas are connected, and pick out the correct option. So throughout history, painters were endangered by poisonous ingredients in their paints. The use of lead and white paint, for instance, or maybe we don't have any word over there. We'll just think what can go in. Cause lead poisoning in many famous artists, including Vincent van Gogh. So the first sentence is giving us a reason. Yeah. Second sentence is giving us example of that. So for instance, get for it. Contrast, where we talk about opposing ideas. What are the, so something is in disagreement or contrast, while, though, although, right? But say nonetheless, notwithstanding, despite, unlike, conversely, all these words set up a contrasting idea. There is something coming up which is not in accordance with what has been said. Yeah. Say she practices tennis every day. She is still unable to hit a solid backhand. The two ideas are contrasting. She practices, but she is still not able to do it. So, but though, something of that sort of thing. Say Chris is an extremely popular singer. However, his voice isn't very good. So he's a popular singer, his voice isn't very good. So, however, can go in as a contrasting word. Okay, cause-effect relationship. Something happens because of the other. So one leads to another. We can have consequently, therefore, since, because, subsequently, thus. So as a result, right? Because of the tuition hikes at private school, many parents are opting to send the children elsewhere. Right? One is the result of the other. The level of competition in college courses become fiercer than ever. And suppose we have a plan. Athletes and coaches are seeking ever more sophisticated training relevance. So because of the competition, they are looking for more sophisticated training relevance. So one is the cause of the other. Right? So therefore. Okay, another thing that comes in is sequence of events. Right? When we have something comes first, then something happens. Yeah, so we can have whatever comes first, we will use firstly, previously. Whatever comes afterwards, we'll have then, afterwards, finally, subsequently, etc. Yeah. Or in conclusion. Yeah, we write it that way. Okay. So after 3 hours of waiting in the lobby, we were admitted into the office. So when you have after 3 hours, something happened. After that is fine. Yeah. First, Karen completed the ACT prep course. Then she took the test itself. So we have first and then both come. Okay. So before getting to the questions quickly. So how will you go about this? You will read the text, summarize, see the relationship between the ideas. First, the main idea, relationship between the ideas, and determine whether it is addition, contrast, causation, relationship. Mainly 3 of them will come. Yeah. And then you would choose your word, then plug it back in. Don't forget to do that. Okay. So maybe you think of a word, you don't get the exact word, you can get a synonym of it. Any options. So any one of them would be with whatever matches would go in. And another thing very important, it should be grammatically correct. Maybe there are two words in two forms. The words seem to be correct, but one of them fits in grammatically, one of them doesn't. So we will go with the one which fits in grammatically. Maybe one is in the past tense, one is in the future tense. Yeah, or maybe there's a vowel before. Right? So depending upon the grammatical structure of the sentence, we will choose the correct option. Okay? And always plug in your answer. So whether it is grammatically correct or not, how will you figure out? Plug in your answer, see if it reads, if it makes sense or not, if it is grammatically correct or not. Okay? And it should be logical also. That is one thing. Grammatically correct, logical, two things that you have to keep in mind. Okay, we'll quickly do some questions. Generally never studies. He gets perfect grades on his exam. What is the relationship? He never studies, but he still gets perfect grades. Contrast. So looking for a contrast also is eliminated, likewise eliminated, therefore eliminated. We have however. Okay, let's look at this one. Josephine enjoyed volunteering at school at the local animal shelter of the school. It was not difficult to meet her school's annual volunteerism requirement.
C.
Huh? See? Okay, now if you see, as a consequence of this and thus, they mean the same. So you go for something that is concise. Always go for what is concise. Yeah, both of them fit in. Yeah, but we will go with something that is concise. Okay, now from your classroom worksheet, you can follow the book. Kshitij, I hope you are following. Somehow we can't communicate. Kshitij, if you can communicate, please unmute yourself and say something. Now, these are the type of questions you will come across, not very easy one-liners. So you have to read carefully. So read through and see what you can figure out. Look for any other words which you give you the relationship. Yeah, here we have say even coming in. Does that tell you something? Yeah, what type of relationship? Addition. Read carefully. Now, if you look at the context in the first sentence, the artist celebrated as the first Arabic poet to write in free verse, didn't reject traditional forms entirely. Yeah. So consists of 10 lines, standard and standard number syllables. Even in this superficially traditional work. So that even, that's why I said, look for other words which give you a relationship. Even in the superficially traditional work, dash, Al-Malaika was breaking new ground by memorializing an anonymous woman rather than a famous man. So it was not traditional. What she was doing is not traditional. So a contrasting relationship comes in, right? So it's not addition. Now we would eliminate C and D, therefore and moreover. Yeah. Now between in fact and though will give you the right answer. In fact, what will in fact do? In fact would be like, it will be an addition to the fact, like two contrasting. If it said that she was doing this, in fact, this was true. That would be here, though will be a better answer. Okay. Number 2. We have to let 30, no? So read both the sentences carefully and figure out what is the relationship between the two. Yes, Sarah? Have you been able to figure out number 2?
No, I'm going for B, but I have a doubt with
You're
A.
going for A.
No,
So what,
C, but A also seems correct.
however, will be contrasting relationship. It's not contrasting, right? So now if you read it, deforestation efforts, while undeniably valuable, often result in forests with limited biodiversity. Yeah. Now K should be taken. Now because this happens, K should be taken. That's the idea we're getting. Care should be taken to plant wide variety of native flora in depleted woodlands to maintain the biodiversity. So because this gets depleted, this should be done. So we don't go with however. Nevertheless, no. Furthermore, does it make sense? No. Accordingly, will be the only one which makes sense. Right? Oh. Nishta, I hope you are getting your answers.
I am, ma'am, yes.
Okay, so please respond whenever you get your answer. Okay, number 3. Read through carefully. There's a however in the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so it will be related to the previous sentence. So what is the main idea you get from here? That this particular thing about how Gordie Howe hat trick is named after Gordie Howe. Second sentence says, he achieved this feat only twice in his professional career, much less than the other players. So we can break it down into that. Remove all the extra information, get the main idea. Right? So what is the relationship you are getting?
However.
However,
Is the answer however?
contrasting relationship. He didn't achieve much, but it is named after him. Right? So it won't be therefore afterwards or as a result. Yes, however is correct. As a result will be what? A cause-effect relationship. Is it a cause-effect relationship? The first sentence says that this is named after Gordie Howe. Yeah. Second sentence says he achieved this feat only twice in his professional career, much less than the others. So how is it named after him? So it's like a controversy coming in. Right? So however can come in. Okay, number 4. Are you getting the relationship? For example, right?
Example B.
For example, very good. So the first part is telling us that this happened. The second part, that is Silas stories, described how it is giving you examples of the stories and what they describe. So, for example, okay, let's look at number 5. So, what is the first part of the sentence talking about? Says before 1847, introduction of US postage stamp, the cost of postage was usually paid by the recipient of a letter rather than the sender. Yeah, and the recipients were not really happy with it. They were not willing to pay promptly. And the second part says collecting this fee could be slow and arduous, and heaps of unpaid for undelivered mail piled up at the post offices. So one was a result of the other. So we can eliminate on the contrary, for example, and regardless also. We are left with consequence. Yeah. So now this could be, when you are reading, it could be 2 sentences, 3 sentences, complicated. Break it down, get to the crux of the idea. It will be easy to figure out in your own words what can go in. Right? Okay, let's look at number 6. Okay, Nishta, are you able to do these questions? Easy enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kshitij, I hope you are following. Kshitij, can you hear me? You can at least raise your hand if you can hear me. Now, even the punctuations will give you an idea of what can come in, right? indeed could be. So can somebody explain? Yes, you can explain. What is the first part talking about? Deep within the earth. And the second sentence is giving you more information on that and something which is surprising. Yeah. The great depths involved nearly 3,000 kilometers and mark Iceland's volcanoes as extreme outliers. Yeah, so that is something which is really not good, or you may say this type of activity is quite surprising that it is so deep. And the part after the semicolon says, many of the Earth's volcanoes are fed by shallow pockets of magma found less than 15 kilometers below the surface. So here we see that one is so much below, and these are less than 15 kilometers below the surface. So contrasting type of thing, that okay, this happens and this also happens. A surprise element, right? So consequently, in addition is not the answer. Nevertheless, could be a contender, but it doesn't give you the idea that the sentence is trying to give. Yeah, the surprise element is missing nevertheless. So indeed will be the correct answer. The next answer I want from Sarah. Question number 7, nobody else will answer.
D.
D, by comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain why you took D? Why you eliminated the others? What are the sentences trying to convey?
Ma'am, the first sentence, it talks about how there are water sunspots and how they vary greatly. The second sentence gives us two statements saying that there were about one, it gives us data and in a particular time. So option A and option B are like not appropriate. C and D remain.
Yeah,
Therefore, is not a conclusion. So D
180
is it.
sunspots and 2 sunspots. It's quite a contrast. Yeah. So not in other words, as similarly, that similarly could have been used if the December 2008 sunspots were also around 180, right? But since it is only 2 sunspots, we will not go with similar. And neither therefore doesn't come in because it's not a cause effect. So it is just supporting a claim and it is giving 2 different data. Okay. So question number 8. What happened? Lost your page? Huh? You're looking for the answers. Okay, so what's question number 8 doing? So you have to first analyze the sentence. If you see there's a hyphenated portion in the middle. Yeah. Which gives what? Examples. So, however, plug back, however, and see if it makes sense. However, you would use when there's a contrasting idea. So, compare it with the first one. As a result. As a result will be one happens because of the other. Is that what it is giving us? Sarah, Nishta, what's your answer? We are quite confused on this. Sarah, what do you think?
Because of so many examples, I went with B.
You went with B in many cases. Okay. Nishta, what do you think?
Option B can be the answer in many cases
Option
because I don't think so. Additionally, and however will be an answer.
Okay.
Even
Kshitij,
as a result.
your answer? Yes, Kshitij, if you are following, please type in your answer so that I know you are there. Option B,
But
is
why?
becoming clearer?
No,
Not clear.
because
Let's see.
additional and it's an already as to it's wrong. Why option B? I don't know.
Okay, let's see. Let's read the first sentence first and see what it is trying to tell us. For years, biologists have experimented using brine eating bacteria, yeah, rather than harsh chemicals to clean artworks, and the results have been impressive overall, right? Now, here it says these bacterial stains, which, now here we have a hyphen, here we have a hyphen. Yeah. If we remove this, what is the rest of the sentence? So these bacterial stains have proven more effective than traditional chemical cleaning methods. Huh? And what is between the two hyphens? These bacterial stains, which can metabolize centuries worth of oil, glue, dirt, and other surface impurities without creating harmful byproducts, have proven more effective than traditional chemical cleaning methods. Now, do we have a contrast between the two sentences? No. The first one is giving you that this is the method. The second one is explaining it further with examples, right? Giving you instances where these have been more effective, right? So we won't go with however. As a result, no. If we put, okay, plug in as a result. As a result, these bacterial stains have proven more effective than traditional chemical cleaning methods. And we have all those examples in the middle. Huh? So not as a result, right? Additionally, no. It's the same information as giving us example. It's not telling you additionally something happened. It is actually, we can say there's a claim in the first sentence. And with examples, you are supporting the claim. Right? So we won't go with additionally. In many cases, this has happened, which supports the claim. Right? So if you look at the first sentence again, you're still confused? No? Sarah? Is it clear now? Nishta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you thought, now is it clear? Yes, it is. B?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So these were some questions. Now the transitions can be a little confusing sometimes if you have these type of questions. Now these type of questions will come. They won't be very easy. So read carefully, break it down, simplify the sentences, see what is the connection between the two sentences, right? What is it doing? Like in this case, it is giving you examples, means it is proving something. Yeah, it is supporting some fact or statement that has already been said. Or it could, if it said that this is in these cases, this doesn't work, then you would go with a contrasting conjunctions, a contrasting transition to prove that though this has been said, it doesn't work. But in this case, it says this does work. It is more effective than traditional chemicals. Yeah. So, and it is giving you the cases. So in many cases, it has been. So now another thing, if you have something of this sort of extra information in the middle, see what is in that extra information. Are they giving examples? Are they giving some idea which is different to what has been said? Does it affect the point raised or not? Right? So you will be able to do the transition questions. We did the questions here, and I know you people don't have time to practice extra. So we have created class tests for you. Do the class test to test yourself whether you have understood, and then even we will be able to understand whether you have grasped the concept and can implement it or not. Right? So far, any problem? And you can go through the book. I haven't gone through all the options. I've been solving the questions. If there is anything wrong in the answer options, please let us know. Right? It may have sometimes that we are saying C is the answer, there B is written. So we will correct. Okay. So far, any problems, any doubts? Yeah? No? So now what you will do is you will at least revise the entire question. Yeah, beginning with subject verb agreement. And have you gained mastery over the reading section? How to identify the evidence when it is textual and quantitative, interpreting ideas. Is it easy? Are you practicing? Go back to all the questions. All the exercises you have done are there. Yeah. Go back, solve them again. Even if you have done them before, do it again. Maybe you didn't understand that time. Now the idea becomes clear. So even if you have, you may say that it's unseen, what's the use? But solving it helps you to get hold of the concept. Right? So solve all the textual questions again. The inference questions, central ideas and details, those are confusing sometimes. How to get to the central idea. I think Manisha has been taking these and Anmol sir some of them. Yes. So go back to all the questions, solve them again, and see whether you have understood how to solve them. So once you understand how to solve them, so one thing is important, any question, whether it is the reading section or the grammar section, the keywords, the main idea of what the passage is talking about, how the ideas are connected, these will help you to get to the answer, no matter what type of question comes in. Connecting ideas and looking at the keywords will help you eliminate the wrong answer. That is very important. First thing you do is understand, eliminate. Yeah, if you don't understand, you will be eliminating the wrong thing. Maybe that is the answer you eliminated. You picked up the wrong answer. Understand. So break down the passage. Any long passage, break it down, simplify, pick up the important points. And this will be digital, so you don't have your pen and paper to do it. So do you have the PDFs of the question sheets? Initially PDFs were shared.
Yes.
Yeah. So go back to the PDFs and maybe I will ask them to share the entire volume PDF. So you can get used to the, and yeah, do the tests, all the class tests which will give and the mock tests that will come up. So you will get used to using the screen. Because we are used to writing on paper. Using the screen is very different from writing. That's why I've been using it is putting it all on the screen instead of using the.
I did some of the tests on screen, so it was taking time for me to.
Yeah, it takes time because here you are used to marking things, underlining, circling. You can't do that over there.
Around 1 seconds per question.
So you have to work on your speed. That is very important, right? So anybody with any questions, any doubts so far? Sarah, Rishta? No? All clear? Now we have done all this. Now it is your turn to master it so that you do now at least the grammar questions you will get around say 8 to 10 grammar questions minimum. Right? And another thing very important, you have 2 modules in the test. Yeah. And between the 2 modules, everyone is not going to get the same question in the same order and the same difficulty level also. So if you do well in your first module, now this is an adaptive test. The questions are not fixed. Yeah. So in the first mod, try to do as many questions possible in the first module and get them correct. Don't leave out anything. If you do well in the first module, you may get difficult questions in the second module, but that is to your advantage. The weightage of those questions will be more. So maybe you get in that the difficult questions. Suppose there'll be a total of how many? 27 questions, I think. So 27 and 28 questions per module. So out of the 27, suppose you turn up getting 15 correct, but they're all the difficult ones you got correct. The weightage of the difficult questions will be more than the easy ones. So you got 20 easy questions correct, but 15 difficult questions correct. You get a +3 instead of +2. Right? So your first section is very important. Always do it well. So that will come later. You start preparing this, and yeah, after you have done the mocks with UT, go into the mocks in the app. Yeah. So those mocks are in the format that you will be getting the no, not Khan Academy, of College Board. You have College Board has 4 mocks which are adaptive, 4 which are non-adaptive you can download and use in a PDF. So those 4 mocks which you are in the PDF, you will get in on screen in UT. Yeah, so that you will get practice of using that on screen, and then you can go into the 4 mocks of College Board. So that you have your College Board ID. So you can use your College Board ID for logging into those mocks and do it live. Yeah, and they will give you scores also. Right? Okay, then thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Nishta. And maybe we, once you start doing your mocks, we may have a few doubt solving sessions. And make sure you write down your doubts whenever you get to it. So in your exercise book, always write down your doubts. Otherwise you'll forget. I had a doubt, but now I don't remember. That's what happens. So if you've written them down, create a section in your notebook. Any question you do, whether reading or writing, any other question you come across in maybe in your class test or in your mocks, write them down. Yeah. So solving your doubts, if you got a question wrong, you find that you did your test, you analyze your test, you got some questions wrong. Now you are not able to figure out how. Write it down. And even if you got it wrong, go back to the answer given and see why you got it wrong. Yeah. So once you know why you got it wrong, you will know next time you won't make sense. Okay. Okay, then see you later again. Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nishta.